Do you distinguish between work and non-work watches? Personally, I keep professional and personal watches completely separate. In fact, I keep just about everything separate according to professional or personal. Watches, clothes, including socks and underwear. Hell, I even drive a different vehicle to work than I do on the weekends and holidays. I guess I just don't like taking my work home with me. I suspect a lot of people are like me though. Honestly, I don't know what I would do if I ever wound up having to work from home. So why have a dedicated work watch? Now, there are some jobs where you probably don't want to be wearing a watch at all, maybe for health or safety reasons, like a snag risk with machinery, which we'll get into a little bit more as I discuss one of my past watches. Sanitary reasons for, medical type professions. If you're going to be soaping up to your elbows every so often, you probably don't want a watch on your wrist. But if you are allowed to wear a watch, having it as a tool actually makes a lot more sense in a professional setting than it does in private life. I mean, let's be honest. We all have our smartphones on us these days, and we've got a clock right in there. So a watch is largely just a fashion item if you're using it on your hand to swipe around on the phone. When working, though, we may have our hands full with other things. We may not have ready access to our phone. Maybe our hands are gloved or greasy and dirty, in which case having a watch actually is still a useful tool as an alternative to smearing crap all over our phone just to check the time. So what constitutes a work watch? Maybe if you're a white-collar professional type, you may just need a work watch to convey a certain message or impression to certain types of people that you interact with.
You see this watch? You see this watch?
Yeah.
That watch costs more than your car. I made $970,000 last year. How much you make? You see, pal, that's who I am, and you're nothing.
I guess those sorts of people might exist. Certainly, I've had professional dealings with people wearing a Rolex. We didn't judge each other on that aspect. Maybe it's a thing, though, in certain professions. Me, up until recently, I've always had uniformed work in one sense or another, like blue-collar, civil service type stuff. Recently, though, I've moved into a career that requires business casual. Basically a desk job. Honestly, not really my thing, but you gotta do what you can to secure a better future. Of course, if you're a watch guy, you're always looking for an excuse to get a new watch, and a change of job or career is a good time to use that excuse. So I figured I'd have a going over some of my previous work watches, as well as a look at my most current acquisition that I got from my first foray into business casual. These are watches ranging from approximately $40 to $140, and all recommended as they have served me well in their positions. First up, we have these, a couple of Casio Tough Solar watches. Honestly, I don't think you need to get a G-Shock. These will get you 90% of the way to a G-Shock at a fraction of the price. And everybody that interacts with you will think they're G-Shocks anyway. These things have been proven themselves to be extra durable. I wore them for almost 10 years in a job that most would consider heavy industry. A lot of heavy lifting, a lot of interaction with fire and ice. I'm talking incinerators, usually running around 2,500 degrees. It's not like these got direct contact with them, but I certainly got up close and uncomfortable with those incinerators on a daily basis. I don't think most watches would have survived what these had in that sense. They got very hot on a number of occasions and held up just fine. They never did have a problem telling time. You will notice this one is broken, and it's certainly more used and abused than this one. This is the one that did most of that time with me. I bought it largely because it had the bumpers around the edge here. I knew it was going to be getting a lot of scrapes, and I wanted to do what I could to save the glass. If you look for these online, you'll see that these actually usually have writing on them that say Tough Solar and stuff like that. The thing that ended this watch's life was it did get snagged between two heavy items as I was placing one down, and belt started moving and started taking me with it. So I had to yank my hand out, and yeah, this watch wound up paying the price for that. I thought initially just the spring bar broke, but and so I got some new spring bars and some new set of bands for it. But you'll see right in here, let me get a little closer up, maybe give you a better look. Sorry about the grossness. But these are work watches after all. All right, hope you're not eating. But yeah, you can see right there, right next where that hair is pointing at. Jesus, that's disgusting. I may have to put a warning on this video. Yeah, so when I ripped my hand out from under the two heavy objects, the spring bar didn't break. The plastic around the pinhole did. Sort of put an end to this watch, I'm afraid. And I just put it away, boxed it away. It's gone into some sort of sleep mode that it won't wake itself up from anymore. So I think it's officially dead. This one that took its place did just fine. Not as big bumpers on this, but yeah, it's held up just great. And enough time has passed that I've integrated this into my personal collection as my official hiking watch. So whenever I'm out in the desert, getting plenty of sun, hiking up mountains and looking for mines and caves, this is what's on my wrist. Doing great, a little beat up, but doing fine. All right. Now from that job, I went into city employment with animal control. And I could have kept using the Tough Solar. I'm sure it would have been fine for that. I did want to change things up just a little bit though, so I wound up with this. I had never had a Citizen, and I always sort of wanted one, so I figured this would be a good chance to have an excuse to get a Citizen field style watch. So yeah, this didn't come with this strap, obviously. This is like a Zulu style strap, well used. The original strap that they come on, I don't know, it was fine. Didn't really fit the rest of the uniform though, and I heard a lot of complaints about it, so I just went with the Zulu instead. Speaking of which, I should mention the previous job. A Zulu would not have done me any favors when that watch got snagged. Certainly, I think if you're in a position where you're working a job where your hand might get caught in something, it's best not to have a strap like this. Just have a regular strap that'll come off easy in case you do get snagged. Your watch may go, but your hand won't. So yeah, I got this for the animal control job. You can see it's well used and abused as well. Lots of reach in my hand, underneath cars, into engine bays to retrieve kittens, underneath storage sheds to get out Pomeranians and things of that nature. But once again, I had it for years. Keeps ticking. Been very happy with it. I will say, you know, it's definitely mineral glass. This watch I think is around $110. Once again, solar powered, as most Citizens are. Just be aware that that glass does stick up a little bit from the bezel, and yeah, if you have a job that's going to subject you to sticking the thing in places against rough objects, it's going to pay the price. But if you don't really care about it because it is a work watch, then it's going to do just fine. As far as telling time, you're just going to get some battle scars on it. Now, I imagine since watches often fall into a category with the EDC crowd, EDC crowd often also encompasses knives. I figured I'd give you all a quick show of this. This was my pocket knife for the animal control job. Being a Spyderco Native. And you'll notice this one is in the CPM Rex 45, by the way. Last I checked, it's considered a super steel. I don't know if it still is. Insane, man. This thing is so freaking cool. I never needed to do more than one swipe motion with anything as far as like netting or leashes or even the thick leather collars. If I needed something off of an animal, this did the job super quick. You will notice, even though I live in a dry climate, I'm going to zoom in real quick here. Even though it is considered a super steel, it is not corrosion resistant. Didn't get much exposure to rain. But yeah, you can see there is some corrosion starting on it. Just fine, nothing around the edge. Man, like I said, in my mind, it just gives it character. So what's my work watch now that I got a freaking desk job? Well, you can see it right there, sitting on top of the penny loafer. It is a Timex Q Reissue, digital with the LCA. Pretty cool, man, especially if you're a child of the 80s, like me, 80s, 90s. Really brings back memories. Now, whether this new reissue is worth it to you or not, it could be another question of a different sort. A lot of people are complaining about the price, which last I checked is around $125, $135, somewhere in there. It was worth it to me just because it does really bring back memories for me, and it feels amazing on the wrist, I think. I really dig the band, which we'll get into in a second. But I did want to show you how it came as far as the packaging goes, which I think Timex is trying to justify the price as much as they can. Certainly, if there is such a thing as a Timex collector out there, they're trying to appeal to them because it came with far more packaging than I expected. First, this is the outside. There's some, I don't know, codes for you in case you need to look up the actual model. This would be a 32.5 millimeter Q. What is the Q?
Would you mind identifying what you are? We call ourselves the Q.
Q, of course, most likely meaning quartz, because this is battery powered, not solar powered. Okay, so outside of that, you slip box, and you get this box. It's so freaking big, it doesn't even fit in my camera. There you go. What could be inside this? Oh, man, let me just get my boot out of the way. Hello, boot. Look, it's another box. Look at that. Ooh. It's almost like they're going for a fake sort of leather grain here. And then inside this, that's where the watch was. And then you pull this up. Boom. You got the booklet, the original tag here. Ta-ta. In case that helps you at all. All right. It even has a little presentation in here. Q, Timex Reissue Digital LCA. The Q Timex Reissue Digital LCA pays homage to the late 80s with its nostalgic and cool looks. To recreate the beauty, we replaced the single bulb display lighting system with a single LED bulb, which, by the way, is complete crap. Any review you see on this watch is going to tell you that. I don't know why they did that. And updated the base metal to stainless steel, which I think is super cool. That is one of the big reasons why I bought this. This watch combines the best of both digital and analog and is packed with features to create a truly retro vibe. There we go. I really dig it. It is very much retro. Especially the bands. I love how the band feels on the wrist. I call it, when I was a little kid, I called it tank tracks. They still do seem that way to me. With that said, though, I will admit they do, if you got arm hair, they're going to snag on occasion. It's not super uncomfortable, and it's not like that common. But especially if you have it just a little bit loose like I do, then if it moves up and down, yeah, these things are going to snag you. It's kept a good time so far. In the time that I've had it, I haven't had any issues with it. You will see it doesn't take much of an angle before it starts getting kind of unreadable there. And if you've got a job where you're looking all day at a computer screen, especially if you have older eyes like me, and then these little words around the edge are going to get harder and harder to read. But if you're not actually trying to use any of the functions and just trying to tell the time, then it does fine. I'll show you the crummy light here. There you go. That's what you get for the light. Doesn't really do you any favors at all. You still can't see the time with it. So you can read the date, but not the best watch for a movie theater, I guess. The finish has been holding up, but I will say it's been eroding a little faster than I expected, considering I've only had this for a couple of months. You can see right where it rubs on the desk. It's already rubbing off. Maybe it wouldn't be an issue if you got the stainless steel, actual silver version. The only other issue I've had with this is the clasp to adjust on your wrist it's probably a good thing, but at the same time it's not. If you do need to adjust this on your wrist and move this thing up or down, you need to lift that little lever up. You see the interior lever where the arrow is. You need to get under that into this area here and then lift up on it. Not easy to do. You're going to need like a screwdriver or something, and you're going to think that you're going to break the watch in the process, or this lever, because at least for this watch, had to put a whole lot of force on it to lift it up. Once you get it lifted up, move it around to where you want, then you got to get this thing back down, and that's even more of a nightmare. It took some real effort and real pushing to get this thing to finally snap back down to a spot where I was happy with it. But other than that, and if you're not used to putting a watch like this on, there is some finagling to it, because you gotta, let me move out real quick, hold on. Whoops, wrong way. This is best done while holding the watch against your body. I don't even know if I'm going to be able, oh, okay, yeah, maybe. This is hard to do while looking through the camera. There we go. Good deal. There it is on the wrist. See, I have it about this amount of looseness. It's not really going anywhere. But like I said, if you got arm hair like me, you are going to feel it on occasion. So that's where we sit with my work watches. I'm curious, if you do watch this, what's your job? What do you wear? Does it work for you? Thanks. Bye.